We are almost at the end of the course, and it's time to go through all the other functions we have in the system, so to give you like general overview of what is possible. So we'll kind of skip XBRL functions because we already work with them a lot. The only thing I want to mention is there is this function to get things by quarter offset, which can be very handy if you build something with balance sheets and income statements and things like that, because they have quarterly data. So you can specify your ticker, and then offset 0 means current quarter, and then 1 would mean previous quarter, and so on. So you can pull data for each of those statements. In microeconomics, we also touched a lot to get source commands. There are a lot of them. If you just look at all these get source commands that you can do, and you can use them in mix with company data. There is Federal Reserve information. We tried, for example, 10-year treasury bonds rate already, but there are all these other parameters like prime rates, debts, and federal funds, GDP, obviously, velocity, money velocity, and there are many more. And treasury data is as well. For example, there is like housing spending, defense spending that you can kind of use in research correlation between stock prices in those sectors and things like that. Then if you move forward with the help, we have the inside data. We already worked with by day by day functions that deal with charts, and we also dealt with table functions. We didn't touch yet the simplest of all, get prop and set prop. And if we go to inside vars, we have some variables that can be stored here. And to demo that, let me just call set function, set property, and you can specify whatever name and whatever values. So we can say I don't know, spring break dates, and you can do like dates here. I don't know, actually don't know the dates, but whatever, 23 for example. And if you run this command, you'll get your information. What did I just do? Oh, I kept typing. So here is your the information stored, name, value, pairs, and you can store as many as you wish. You can also call a store value function to permanently store it, and you can load it from permanent storage using load value. This way you can store your permanent settings and parameters for your algorithms, so you don't need to specify them every time for your scripts. The next thing is portfolio functions, which we worked a lot with, and I'll just skip it over. Prospects is a feature where you do various researches, and you can create like your new prospect here, and it behaves like a Word document. So you can like make things bold. You can insert various tables, images, and charts. Yeah, we can insert that like this. So this is just some kind of document that you can store, and there are functions to actually access those documents and even create the documents, like Word document reports, similar to Word document reports. And then we have all this company data and stock data information, which also we worked a lot with, so I'll skip that. The only thing is, remember, there are many more properties we didn't try. There is also access separate functions to access fund ownership and insider ownership in companies. The hallmark feature is a feature where you can create your custom hallmarks, and hallmarks is a tab we have here, and essentially what it does, most of the time it's kind of disabled, but let me actually see if we can find that column. Oh, it's actually visible somewhere here. Let's see. Hallmark. Oh, here it is. So some companies have a lot of hallmarks, and if you go there, you will see they auto-generated and inform about big changes, like assets jumped a lot recently, 73%. So you can create your custom hallmarks with script to highlight that in companies and do other things like that. Static content we'll touch in next lesson. And then you have all these special functions. The special functions we already use, like get total days, println. This one is sort of useless, just pause for some reason. Get total day, get the string we use to print the date. Get username, so you can print your username. If you generate some documents, useful. Add alert with write. Split is very useful in certain cases, especially if you parse input data of some sort, like if there is like comma separated data like this, and it takes as an input the string. Why it doesn't give me help here? And you also specify the splitter, and then you can get the result out of it, right? So split, separate the split input string into array. Yeah, you get an array. Local. And then you can for loop through that array. So if you run this, we get our A, B, and C in array. It's useful to parse data, and you can do different splits, of course. Then we use that for sorting, and this is for length of arrays. Clip strings, if you want to limit the size, the length of the string. Useful when there is an input again from the user and things like that. String replace is very useful when you have a string and you replace something with something else. Lower, higher, upper letters starts with, if you want to search and find the start with in the string. Current date and time. This test is if there is a number. We used that in previous test, and this is something advanced, so we don't really need that. Okay, so that's pretty much it, a whole API. Now there are a few things that Lua itself provides, and here if you just go to Lua language, you can read about this language, and you can learn about functions they have. So reference manual, obviously. You can find all kinds of functions that Lua provides. You're not interested in C API, you're only interested in this basic stuff. So there is a lot of math functions and string functions, and those can be very useful. So like very useful function would be formatting of numbers. So here, if for example after your division there is a really large floating point number, you don't want to show it like that in the UI, it's kind of ugly, so you can limit it by number of digits using this string format Lua function. So if I run that, you'll get 335 output. As you can see, it's rounded it, so it's very useful, obviously. Also, if you type math, then we can see there are all this arctan, cosine, sine, and all the other standard mathematics functions you can use. String functions, find, format we just used. This one is for searching and substrings formation and so on. So quite a few useful string functions. So that's lesson 9, and pretty much this is the final lesson of the required course to master the scripting in this platform, Techonomics platform. The lesson 10 is optional and only for those of you who are creative ones that want to share stuff with the world. So we'll have some fun in lesson 10 for that. Thank you.